Incredible relief is coming right away as tomorrow morning Joe Biden announces a major task force as step one in dealing with two major issues, the pandemic and stimulus. On Monday, Joe Biden will announce the major team to step in and get things going. Goodbye, Joe. Goodbye, Mike Pence. As the issue and situation is very important. Number of COVID cases, 125 across the country right now. Amount of stimulus out currently, 0. And so the push is underway to get this going. This is incredible, great news. It's moving very quickly. I told you to be right on the ball. It's incredibly exciting and it's incredibly moving fast. And this is Purple. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I'm so excited for you on a special edition of Purple this afternoon. And boy, this is incredible, great news. And I told you things are going to move very quickly and very swiftly. And boy, it's just absolutely exciting. There's just so much going on. I just can't keep up. If you've not subscribed, please go to the front channel, subscribe, because I'm literally rolling out videos as fast as I can in a day in which there's just programming just absolutely jaw-dropping across the board. It's so exciting, it's so fast, and it's so fresh, and I'm so excited for you. So please subscribe to the Fronts channel. Also hit the alert button so you don't miss a video when we deploy a new video. Meantime, I like this video. You're going to be really shocked about how things are moving so quickly, because I am as well. But I told you it was coming. All right, in this video, I'll be going over why Joe Biden on Monday will be announcing a new task force, what that task force means, and why is that exemplary of what's going to happen with stimulus. I told you things are moving very, very quickly, and this is what America needs: progress and movement right now, not 5 months from now, not 5 days from now, right now. So this is incredible, great news. Then I'll be going to the reaction of the situation. Then I'll be turning to grants, lots of grants, and I want you to be tuned in on all that and more. Finally, I'll be going over some incredible questions and comments from yesterday's video and some of your questions and concerns about hazard pay, because I know that it's still confusing a lot of people. All right, let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as you sit here today is that Joe Biden's not missing a beat. He's not missing a day. He's announcing a task force tomorrow that's stepping in to start getting things done right away. And that task force will be a 12-member task force to combat and contain the pandemic, a source tells Axios today. On Monday, Joe Biden will be announcing his senior White House staff or single cabinet member, and will be addressing the priority of his transition team and the potential administration. So you're going to hear about stimulus. You're going to hear about preparing for this transition and getting things done right away. The important thing is that the task force will have a lot of leads. The former Surgeon General Viket Murphy, the former FDA Commissioner David Kessler, and Dr. Marcela Nunez-Smith from Yale University. Some of the members of the group have been advising Biden throughout the campaign. And on Friday night, he said voters gave him a mandate to move quickly on the economy, climate change, and systemic racism, reports Axios, quoting the speech. And the concern is that the United States has now suffered a 250,000 deaths to the pandemic. The reaction is underway very quickly. Dr. Leanna Wen, former Baltimore Health Commissioner, says that Biden is moving quickly and swiftly. His work needs to begin right now. He needs to begin communicating the urgency of his actions with the American people. His biggest challenge is going to be getting people to follow his recommendations. He has the best policies and even the best way. He can have the best policies and even the best way to implement his policies, but unless you can win the hearts of the American people, it's going to stall. It's going to be a much worse winter with surging across the country, and the firestorms of COVID are everywhere. So what's important to understand is that the path and movement is going very quickly. In the video right over before this, and yesterday I told you that you have two new negotiators for your stimulus package, Mitch McConnell and Joe Biden. They're going to be talking, and when they're talking, they're not going to be telling you they're talking. When they're meeting, they're not going to be telling you they're meeting. They're not going to appear on The View or Colbert and say, I don't like Mitch's hands, and then Mitch saying, I don't like Joe's hair, and then Mitch saying, I don't know whatever his name is, or Joe saying he's not serious on crushing anything. They're not going to do that because they've known each other for longer than these candles have been burning. So they've known each other for a while. They know how to pass bipartisan legislation and do it very quickly. And Joe Biden understands that his major first stepping block is getting stimulus done first before getting to everything else. And so on Monday, he's going to be announcing his task force to deal with the pandemic and also deal with the issues of stimulus. He's not missing a second. I told you it's going to go very quickly. But the trouble is that even with hitting the ground running on day one, it's going to take time to manufacture some equipment. So they're referring to the pandemic nursing equipment. That has nothing to do, of course, with stimulus. Even on day one, it's going to create a mass mandate. It's going to take a while to get that message out. But in the issue of stimulus can come out within 10 days. This is incredible great news because it continues the path of where I said you were going. Joe Biden set up a transition team. Joe Biden set up a transition Twitter account, which you should be tagging. Joe Biden will be negotiating the stimulus package. Mitch McConnell will be doing the stimulus package tomorrow. And ultimately, I don't think I have to repeat this in every video for the next 2 weeks, but I'll just drop it a few more times and that's it. If you pass the bill in the Senate and you start the bill in the Senate and you prepare, well, let me back it up. If you have an agreement between Joe Biden and Mitch McConnell and you understand which senators are going to support it and which House members are going to support it, and you make sure that this is a congressional body that wants the bill. This is not, people sort of throwing things at each other, that everyone wants this bill and everyone is excited about this bill. Then ultimately, you have the Senate vote on the bill, and it passes the bill. The House gets the bill, they pass the bill. It sends to the president. He says, I'm golfing. Then it goes back to the Senate. The Senate then, in a quorum, has the same people come back in. It only takes 2/3 passed. Then it goes back to the House, same 2/3 passed, done. It becomes law. And so I don't think I have to keep on saying this anymore, but I think you got the point. So we need to get this stuff out really quickly and really firmly. And this is what's incredibly great news. What's important to understand is that Joe Biden in his transition statements talk about relief for you. And he talks about frontline workers a lot. I mean, just not a little bit, but a lot. I mean, more than any Democrat, I think, has ever talked about frontline workers, which is really good for hazard pay. He clearly has frontline workers at issue. Second, he also talks about teachers in the context of frontline workers. Sometimes some of these bills have not had teachers in there, which is really great news. So educators are included in this frontline worker, essential workers classification. Next, he also talks about the importance of helping small and very, very small business and those that may have been left out of stimulus relief before. You know who that is. I don't have to explain it, but that could be even more than just EIDL and PPP. So with that, you can sit back and hear what's going on. That sounds like the CDC grant for essential workers. That sounds like the EIDL grant for small business owners. That sounds like the EIDL loan. That sounds like that sounds like a version of hazard pay. That sounds like PPP loans. It sounds like everything we have been told before. And ultimately, when he says that in his written statements issued today and yesterday, not just once, but several times, it suggests that that's really where we're going. It's absolutely categorically incredible, great news. So a lot of viewers have been asking me the last few days, what's going to happen with hazard pay? What's going to happen with grants? What's going to happen with this? You heard me say yesterday and the day before, I don't think that Mitch McConnell is going to give you a $10,000 grant. My position is unchanged about that. I don't think Mitch McConnell is going to give you, or any Republicans are going to give you, a free grant, a free money that is, 5 figures in size. Smaller? Yes, absolutely. Hazard pay? Yes. Small business? Yes. And so this is categorically incredible great news. Now, I want you to understand that when I talk about those type of grants, I'm not forgetting my SSDI, SSI, and Social Security and railroad viewers, my absolute wonderful viewers. You're going to get a rent grant. You're going to get a food grant if you fall within an economic threshold. That's what's so important that Joe Biden does talk about a lot in his statements, is that there were small people who were left behind a lot during this pandemic, and that has to stop. I detailed over this weekend that people who make less than $32,000 a year were hurt hardest by this pandemic because when they tried to find a new job after being laid off, it wasn't there. And that people who made over 64,000, the vast majority of them have been able to rebound in some sort. So the situation is showing an economic disparity in rebounding from the pandemic, even before facing a new round of lockdowns. Now, what's important to understand is that Joe Biden's statement is very in tune with the ravaging new COVID-19 cases. And so this is critically important. So ultimately, you're not talking about just stimulus in the context of where we were in July or August. Joe Biden's, in all his statements, is talking about the impact of why COVID is just out of control. He wants to deal with that, but also deal with stimulus in an accordingly fashion. This is called incredible great news. Let me go over some of your incredible comments and questions from yesterday's video. Before that, let me remind you that there was a new grant which I announced on Mornings LA today, which I believe is on Mornings LA, which is a new DWP grant for Los Angeles. If you're a Los Angeles resident and use the Department of Water and Power and are within their threshold, I just dropped something, within their threshold for economic level, or can certify that you're impacted because of the pandemic, you can get a $500 threshold. You can get a $500 grant, free money. It can be used for anything like telephone, internet, utilities, or related things. So an incredible new grant. That's the DWP in Los Angeles or LA County. It just went live, and it's only live for 2 weeks. This is always what I talk about with these grants. They just come out and then they're gone. So go get it right away. Finally, of those grants that are still out there, don't forget that despite whatever I'm talking about in this video, the pre-existing grants are still there. That's that CARES Act 1 money, the $150 billion that's still sitting around that cities and states are using or losing. When I talk about stimulus and I talk about grants now, understand that I'm talking about new grants. I'm not saying that the old ones are gone. So please go on Google News and look for them. That's grant plus your city or county plus CARES Act. And you will find some announced or to be announced, and they're evolving all over the place. Don't send me a TM and say, hey, can you look it up for me? Because ultimately, there's too many cities and counties for me to look it up, and it may not be there today, but it may be there tomorrow. What's incredible great news is that the spirit of this channel and spirit of the Purple Power is viewers are helping one another just find these things, and they're out there. Food, rent, stimulus, essential workers, and all that incredible great news. Let me go over some of your questions and comments from yesterday's Purple recording. Carlita, we need it so bad. We need homes, food, and utilities. Phyllis, afternoon to LALATE. Hello. Gamer, they have to get it done now. Lisa, good evening, LALATE. Good evening. Tiffany, we need stimulus checks now at this point. Yes. Cindy, try to stay positive. Patrick, you're a godsend for the people and be loud. Thank you. We all have to be loud. Karen Cox, I will believe, no, I'm not gonna read your comment like that. It's a negative comment. Mike, I'm praying it's been a rough 3 months. It has been a rough 3 months. Jody, that would be great if they hadn't, that would be great. Tammy, well, Tickle Me Purple, I might be glad we're getting stimulus starting Monday. You're not getting stimulus on Monday. No one said you're getting stimulus on Monday. Said it's resuming session on Monday to get you stimulus. Tammy, I'm so glad Nancy isn't in there this time. She's going to be involved in some regard. Her house, her body, her chamber of Congress has to pass it. She's not the one that's going to be on the phone, haggling Mitch for $12 to $2, which is incredibly great news. So with that, what you need to stay tuned about is that there's a lot of twists and turns, and we're going to get through this together. We're absolutely going to get through this together. What's important to understand is that when you're looking at grants, and when you're looking at anything like that, always have all your documentation ready. If you're a business owner or solo, make sure you have your Schedule C ready or your 1099. They may be asking for things like that. Or if you're an individual and they're asking for rent or utilities or food grants, they're going to maybe asking for something that proves what your income level was in 2019. Be ready to get that documentation as well. In fact, when you do these type of things, generally the requests are are about the same type of documents. And so it's relatively simple, it's relatively easy, and it's going to move quickly. And you see the excitement we're on for next week. Just stay here as well. Go to the Finance Channel, subscribe, because together we're going to get through this pandemic together and get to the finish line, keeping our feet on the ground, being financially stable. Also, like this video. Coming up next is Being a Mitch, followed by Street and Stimulus. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and have a great afternoon. I hope your Sunday was beautiful. Hope you had a relaxing weekend. Hope you crushed something. And stay with LALATE for more.